Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Sorry it's been a while, been very busy with several things, but I'm back and we're going to be making more videos throughout this year. So today I'm going to be talking about the next Doctor, who I would like to see play the next Doctor. So there's various different actors that I've got in mind who I think would be really good for the Doctor, and some of them would even be good for the Master, so we'll get into that as well. But let's start off with an actor who I think would be really good in the role, and that is Ben Miller. Now, Ben Miller, you probably know him. He was in Death in Paradise. He played the iconic detective Richard Poole in that. He's also been in things like Primeval, Professor T. He's been in loads of sort of things that are sort of Doctor-esque roles, and I think that he would be very good. You know, his role in Death in Paradise playing Richard Poole was really, really good, and I really enjoyed his performance as the character of Richard Poole. I just think there's something funny about him, but he's also a bit serious, and I think that could really work for the Doctor. And I think he would be a great actor for the role. He apparently auditioned for the role of the Doctor before, but didn't get it, so maybe there's a possibility he could, get that. I'm not sure how accurate that information is, but there we go. So I think he would be good, particularly just as that kind of he can play that sort of bumbling idiot, but at the same time he's also intelligent. So I think that would be really good as well. He's also in Johnny English, which is a great film. If you haven't seen Johnny English, then you should watch that film. That's a really good film. I should review that on the channel, actually. Yeah, so moving on to some of the other actors who I'd really like to see play the role of the Doctor. Tom Rosenthal. Tom Rosenthal was probably best known for Friday Night Dinner, where he played the role of Johnny. He was really good in that, just a really great actor. He's also in Plebs and loads of other things. He's also like a comedian, so he can do those funny elements as well. He's known for lots of comedies and stuff. But he was really good in Friday Night Dinner, and I just think he's a solid actor. He sort of has that awkwardiness that's a bit odd, and I think that would really work for the Doctor. Sort of like a Matt Smith version, sort of similar to Matt Smith. I feel like that similar vibe of Doctor. But yeah, I think he would be really great. I don't know how well he would do the serious stuff, because I haven't seen him do anything, really serious. But yeah, he's really good at the comedy and the comedic stuff. So if you bring that more into Doctor Who rather than making Doctor Who all this political stuff, I mean, it would be better to bring back the comedy. Where's the comedy in Doctor Who? That's what we need to bring back, make it a bit more funny. So yeah, so I think that would work really well to have him in there, just to lighten it up. Really, I think he's a really great actor, Tom Rosenthal, and just seems like a really nice guy. I think he would just do perfectly as the Doctor. Moving on to my other choice, I have here is Ben Hardy. Now, Ben Hardy, I did meet Ben Hardy back in November, and he was a really great bloke, just a really great, nice guy. He's probably best known for his role in EastEnders, which he used to play Peter Beale between I think it was 2013 to 2015, and he was really good in that role. Like, he did all the dramatic moments, even the serious moments, even the funny moments. He was just sort of you're really good at that role as Peter Beale, and I think that he was just incredible. His performances and everything like that. He's also been in X-Men, so he's not a stranger to doing sci-fi and stuff. So he was in X-Men Apocalypse, where he played the Angel guy. Can't absolutely remember his full name, but yeah, that's a good film anyway. X-Men Apocalypse anyway. But yeah, he was great in that. He's also been in loads of other stuff. He's done stuff with Netflix, so he's a bit more younger. I think he's in his 30s, so maybe that more appeals to maybe the younger generation if you had Ben Hardy. But Ben Hardy just seems like a solid good actor, and he's a really nice bloke. So I think that really works as well. As for the Doctor moments, he's sort of a bit, of posher, I'd say, in a way. So he's sort of, he might have that, sort of a posher element to it. And also, he seems like a really great bloke, so he could just channel out some of that energy of, him being, sort of like that. And I think that he would do a great job, particularly in serious moments, like when something's really tense, like a tense scene. I think that he would be able to, really power it through. He did star in a comedy, actually, which I saw on Netflix, and he was very good in that. So, whether he could transfer that into the Doctor as well, have a bit of comedy and drama, I think would really work for Doctor Who. And I think Doctor Who needs a bit of, livening up. It needs a bit of, the last series of Doctor Who wasn't that good, in my opinion. So I feel like, with a new Doctor, we got to bring something new. So a bit more comedy, I think, would really work for Doctor Who. And I think Ben Hardy doing his serious moments would really work. And then if he projected a bit more comedy into it as well, I think he would be really good. Yeah, so that's what I can say about them. So moving on to the others I have here, Carl Davis. Carl Davis. He was probably best known by a lot of people for playing the role of Robert Sugden, the third incarnation of Robert Sugden. Yeah, he was really good in that role. I really enjoyed his portrayal of Robert Sugden, and I think he could bring the character of the Doctor with a slightly darker edge, right? I think he would make a good master as well. But Carl Davis, he's got that energy to him, where he sort of, the way he pulls that face as if he looks sort of, when he's acting, he looks sort of guilty or something that, he might have committed, so that might reflect the Doctor maybe sort of regretting on his past and stuff like that. And I think that the way, Carl Davis performs, particularly in Emmerdale, if you go back and see any of his early stuff, right, he just brings that sort of seriousness to that character, where sort of like cunning, scheming, sort of, I think that would really work for the Doctor, bringing in sort of that cunning and scheming elements to the Doctor as well, which I think he's missing, to be fair, in recent years. I mean, yeah, I think Carl Davis, he just knocks it out of the park, really, in Emmerdale. He's also in Waterloo Road at the moment, playing sort of a darker character as well, so that's why I said he could be a good fit for the Master as well. Yeah. So I just think that he would be great, and he might put a new spin on the Doctor, because he's quite, a different Doctor. He's also, I believe, Northern as well, so, yeah, he's Northern as well, so he's sort of, have a Northern accent, which not very many Doctors have had a Northern accent. There's been a few, obviously Christopher Eccleston being very notable, Paul McGann. But yeah, I think that he would be, really great in that role anyway. But like, particularly if you've seen him in Emmerdale, the stuff where he's got all those dramatic moments, like his affairs, with Katie Sugden, all that stuff, the things with Andy, all of that stuff. If you've seen Emmerdale, you can see how amazing actor he is. So showing off how he can perform like that, just like his character, you think might be nice from the outside, but it's actually from the inside a bit of a psychopath, a bit, psychotic and stuff like that. So that could work for the Doctor, maybe a Doctor who's more closed off from everyone else, who's a bit more cunning and scheming, which would be an interesting approach to the Doctor, making the Doctor sort of like Peter Capaldi's. Peter Capaldi's Doctor was sort of like, oh, you like this guy, but there's some bit more about him, I think if we have a Doctor who's got a bit more about him, then it would be a little bit more interesting. And I think with Carl Davis particularly, I think he'd be really great. And he can do comedy, because he was in a comedy show called Kingdom with Stephen Fry, which I've seen a bit of. And he was really good in that. There's lots of funny moments and various other things in that. And he was really good in that. He's also been in Happy Valley. So various other things that I think a lot of people have heard of. So they've probably seen him. And in Waterloo Road, he doesn't particularly play a nice character. But from what I've heard, I haven't actually seen him in it. But yeah, I always think that he would make an interesting version of the Doctor. Really. So, yeah. So moving on to the next actor who I think would make a really great Doctor. He could also make a really good Master as well. This is Alex Price. Alex Price, probably best known to most people as playing Sid Carter in Father Brown. Now, he was really good in that role, sort of like that funny, sort of, how do I describe it? They're sort of, they say, cheeky chappy is that sort of thing, which I don't really know how anyone can be cheeky. That sounds a bit cartoonish, really. But he sort of has that funny edge to him in Father Brown, like just to do with, solving things. And also the Doctor, he solves things, doesn't he? And in Father Brown, Sid and obviously Father Brown solve murders together. So I think that would be really interesting to see, his version. He also played Draco Malfoy in on the stage, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I haven't actually seen him in that, but apparently he was good in that. So he can obviously play sort of a villainous role based on him playing Draco Malfoy. He also did appear in Doctor Who before, actually, as a lot of people didn't know this. And the same as Ben Miller, he appeared in Doctor Who before as well. So Alex Price appeared in Doctor Who in the 2010 episode Vampires of Venice, and he was brilliant in that. He played a villain. He was one of the sort of vampire fish people. Very, very weird story of Doctor Who, ironically. But yeah, I thought he did kind of a great, push into that role. He sort of says mummy all the time and does weird stuff. I don't know, he was just a bit weird in that episode particularly. But I think with his version of the Doctor, he could be obviously cunning and scheming, like I mentioned with some of those other actors, but also funny, because this is something I really want from a Doctor. I want a Doctor who's going to be, you know, funny and engaging. So maybe them to be a bit awkward, a bit, you know, odd, you know, but also have a bit of charm to them. And I think Alex Price would have that charm, really. I haven't seen him in anything else recently, but I just think that he would make a great addition, as well as being a master. I think would be really cool. Like I think he'd make a good master as well, because a lot of the time he plays with lots of like, serious nice guys. So you know it might be a change here for him to play a villain. But I think he would just knock it out of the park. Now the other one I have after this, which is last on the main list really, is an actor called Garen Howell. Now Garen Howell, he is probably best known for playing the role of Vlad, Vladimir Dracula, in Young Dracula. I know it's a bit of a random one, this one, why I've added it here, but he was really good in that. Particularly, I remember watching that as a when I was like a kid, and and it was really enjoyable watching Young Dracula. And he stood out to me, like he could just act like just amazingly, really. And he was a vampire, which was quite serious though, particularly in the last 3 series. They made it more serious, and he could handle that sort of serious tone. And he's gone on to do loads of other stuff. I think he was in 1917, the big film about the First World War. He was also in. He's also been in McDonald and Dots, which is a program I like, which is pretty good. And he played a murderer in that, I believe. Yeah, Father Luton, I think that was his name. Sort of like a cunning murderer sort of. So master, he could be a master as well, obviously, based on the Doctor as well. But I think that he would just do a great job, really. His roots sort of came from kids' TV and stuff, so I think he could project some of that into Doctor Who to engage a wider audience and stuff like that. But he was also in Spartacle Mystery. Don't know if you've ever seen that. That was a really good kids show back in the day, the Spartacle Mystery. Yeah, but he was just really good in that, and I think that he would just knock it out of the park, really. He also said in an interview, I believe it was like years and years and years ago, it must have been like 2014 maybe, 2013 or something, he said he did an interview on CBBC, I believe, like a very long time ago, and he said, one programme I'd really love to be in was Doctor Who. So, sort of never say never, and I believe he has been in some audio dramas. Don't quote me on this, I could be wrong. So it's not that worlds apart to believe that he could be the Doctor. I mean, he's only in his 30s, so it's likely, it's not that common, that he could be, but you never know. This is purely my own ideas, right, for who I think would be the Doctor, and I do like the idea of having a Doctor who is cunning and scheming, and also has a little bit of a funny side, because I think most of the Doctors are losing that funny side. I don't think, Doctors have been that funny. To be fair, I mean, Shuyawa did a good job for what he was given, really. And David Tennant, obviously, when he came back, he did an alright job as well. But yeah, so the sort of Doctor, you don't want them too old. So like, if they're probably like over the age of 70, I don't think they'll probably have a shot of being the Doctor. But if they're like, I'd say anywhere from the age of 20 to like, I don't know, 65 or something. That's the bracket I'd say for the Doctor, really. But yeah, I think, as I'm going back to my statement earlier, I think that Ben Miller would just make a great Doctor. Just purely because if you've seen like his other stuff, I just think that he would suit that role just amazingly. I really would like to see that. The same as seeing Carl Davis play the Doctor, I think, because a lot of people, you sort of, you've heard the name, so you recognise the face, but you haven't heard the name specifically. So I'll put photos up on screen throughout the video. But yeah, so I just want a Doctor who's going to have that cunning element, but also that sort of, goofy, immature sort of vibe as well. So that's why I think that, as I said earlier, Tom Rosenthal, he just has all of those qualities, and I think that Tom Rosenthal, if you've seen him in Friday Night Dinner and everything else like that, he's just really good, and he's funny. He's engaging, and the audience are going to be engaged because he's just such a good actor, and I think he can grab their attention there. But overall, I think that all of these people I'm suggesting, I think, would make a good Doctor. Um, it just depends on, you know, who's writing Doctor Who, how they present the character, and how they do all of that stuff, really. Because if I was writing Doctor Who, it would probably be slightly different to the way it is now. Yeah, so that's sort of my ideas, really, for who I would cast as the Doctor, sort of why, and based on just their other acting roles in the past, really. But Tom Rosenthal would just make a perfect Doctor. Alex Price, just another great actor. Carl Davis, he would do a good job. I just think all of these actors would do a great job. Ben Hardy, I mean, he would do an amazing job. He's a really good actor, and it's just a shame that he's not in more things. He did do some Hollywood films, but not as much in recent years. So I think that he would be a really good version of the Doctor. And he's a top bloke as well. He's a really good, nice guy. So I think all of these actors would be just completely solid in their roles. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in a video soon, because I've got more plans to do various other videos. The character file reviews of Last of the Summer Wine, I'm going to keep on making them. I hopefully want to, you know, do some more videos maybe on soaps as well, because I've got a lot of ideas to do with them and talk about them, so various other character file reviews of them. Doctor Who, on the other hand, I don't know how many more videos I can make on Doctor Who. I'm going to try and, you know, see other things to review about Doctor Who as well, because Doctor Who's still stuck in this loop where we don't know what's sort of happening. There's going to be a Christmas special, there hopefully is. Billie Piper's the Doctor, but she isn't. I don't know. That's why I made this video, actually. Because we don't know if Billie Piper is the Doctor or she isn't. So who knows? I'm not sure if anyone knows, really. But yeah, I don't know. That's for sure. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please remember to like and subscribe. And I guess that's goodbye. Bye for now.